Hey guys, thanks so much for clicking on this video. My name is Chris. I just got done watching Wonder Woman 1984 in the comfort of my living room as the HBO Max gods intended. And with Wonder Woman 1984, it is the long-awaited sequel for Wonder Woman. We follow Diana, now set in the 1980s. She's a full-fledged superhero to the finest, saving everybody from little kids all the way up to burglars of an antique store located in a mall for some reason. But of course, when everything was just seeming fine, Steve Trevor, played by Chris Pine, shows back up in Diana's life at the worst time possible with a couple of other villains on the rise. That's all pretty much say about Wonder Woman 1984 without giving any spoilers to you guys. This will be a spoiler-free review. Now, as you can tell already by my geekish little Wonder Woman pyramid here, I even have Lola Bunny as what they made that, and I said, yeah, take my money. I am a big fan of the Wonder Woman character, and I absolutely love what Patty Jenkins did with her introduction for Wonder Woman. So suffice to say, I was really looking forward to Wonder Woman 1984 and to see if the sequel could live up to its predecessor, and I'm here to say, it does not. But it's still a pretty damn good movie. Let me go ahead and explain here. One of the things I absolutely love now is Gal Gadot, or Gal Gadot. I'm sure there's a better way to say it, and you guys will let me know in the comment section. But there's no doubt about it, okay? She has now officially become the person I will always see as Wonder Woman, no matter what she does into her career. The same way I'll look at Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, or Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. She has become the character, and it's even more apparent here that she's fully embodied that Wonder Woman persona, because just throughout the movie, when we're getting the early beginnings and knowing that Wonder Woman throughout the years has been around saving people from the little guys to the big guys, her charm and character really pull off where you really see the identity of Wonder Woman come to life. And cheesy or not, man, when Gal Gadot is in that Wonder Woman outfit with the cinematography in this movie, the vibrant colors, the glow on her, like she is literally looking like a goddess to me. And I don't care, call me a simp all you want, I'll do it for Wonder Woman. But speaking on the vibrant colors and the setting that we have here, the 1980s, I do like here how an immortal being like Wonder Woman, we're traveling through these different eras, seeing how she takes in the world, because it's definitely a step up from the way she was in the first Wonder Woman, where she was the newcomer into man's world, and everything around her drew her curiosity, and she was just confused by the way of life. Now those roles have been reversed, where Wonder Woman just kind of knows the way of the world, and has to teach all that again in the same way Steve Trevor once did for her. And when it comes to the inclusion of Steve Trevor back in this movie, I was very hesitant for that to happen, just because I thought it was done so perfectly in the first movie, the relationship, and for a huge chunk of this movie, again, I bought into that relationship, and there was a part of me that was really happy to see these two together, because you can just tell Diana in this movie is heartbroken, has never loved again, and just continues to miss Steve Trevor in her life, so that when she finally sees him again, you actually feel that emotional weight that she's going through, and is just willing to do whatever it takes throughout the movie to keep him there. With the inclusions of the villain here, Kristen Wiig, who plays Cheetah, and Pedro Pascal, who plays Maxwell Lord, is where we get into the little bit of a rough ground, where I still want to go ahead and praise these actors, because they did a fantastic job in really giving this heightened evil persona, especially Pedro Pascal. He is a mess as the movie progresses on forward and forward. And Kristen Wiig, an actress I really do admire and think is hilarious in a bunch of other movies. Was not expecting her at all whenever they casted her for the role, but I knew she would pull it off, and to an extent she does. But Kristen Wiig's character, and in a similar way, Pedro Pascal, have fallen into this rut that I've just noticed over and over in these comic book movies, where when it comes to the second film, the tone is just changed so vastly. It almost does feel like this movie was directed by a different person right here, because the film tries to change up its style. It's no longer as serious, it's a little more goofier, silly, not as grounded, and we just have that cliche trope now that is coming up in a lot of comic book movies of the obsessed fanboy that goes evil. I mean, we had the Riddler, Jim Carrey, obsessed with Bruce Wayne, wants to please him no matter what. Oh, can't please him, goes evil, goes bad. Oh, then you had Jamie Foxx's Electro in Amazing Spider-Man 2, obsessed fan, wants to do anything to please Spider-Man. Oh, can't please him, goes bad. And the same thing kind of happens here with Kristen Wiig's character, is the dorky, unlikable, misunderstood person that just wants the approval of Diana. Oh, can't get it. Oh, I go evil. These guys have such a similar arc that it is kind of scary how Hollywood is just using this trope over over and over, and it really does take the movie down a notch for me. Not only that, but I was hoping to get a lot of screen time of her as Cheetah, understanding that visual effect is probably very expensive and is why it was only in the film for a limited amount of time. And while the fight scenes between them were awesome, I just felt the whole build up to that character, to that transformation, to everything going on was so contrived and just did not flow well. It just felt very forced, and I only forgave it as a comic book fan because I know what we're leading to, I know what we're headed towards. But from a narrative standpoint, it really didn't make sense how this girl just ended up looking like herself into this cheetah looking thing from Cats. The pacing of the film also was off. There was a lot of scenes in here I felt just could have been cut out and were not needed at all. The movie runs about 10-20 minutes longer than it should. The ending finale and the way things are resolved are also so uneventful. Everything is resolved by this sort of motivational speech that sometimes happens that flips a person around, and I'm like, really? Come on, why can't we just thrash somebody? But probably the thing that really brought it down the most to me is just trying to replicate again that whole Wonder Woman and Steve Trevor forbidden love that goes on, because we all know, however he comes back in the movie, you can pretty much guess whether he's going to be there by the end or not. And they really do just try to do a rehash of what happened in the first film, and it did not work at all. The first time around, it brought me to tears. This time around, I just kind of sighed. But even with those negatives aside, like, they do Wonder Woman justice, okay? They got her persona correct. They have the action sequences down. Her superpowers get evolved and are fully fledged in this film. They throw in a lot of great Easter eggs, one in the post-credit scene that some of y'all might want to stick around for. This is a Wonder Woman movie that is flawed, but I think is still very much enjoyable. But expectations might need to be tamed down if you're expecting greatness like the first one. So for Wonder Woman 1984, I'm gonna give action 4 stars here. I really do enjoy when Diana is doing some butt kicking, especially in a room full of goons right here. The way her lasso has no logic to it, how she just leaps back and forth, catching bullets, dodging them, and also to mention they find a way to make Diana weak in this movie that I actually do agree with, and it kind of just raises those stakes within the action. Comedy in the film, I give it 2 stars here. There were a couple chuckles here and there, not as many jokes as you would think. Even with this sort of silly tone, you will be laughing at stuff that I don't think is meant to be funny, just because of that shift in tone like I was mentioning. But while I was hoping Kristen Wiig to be the one to pull out all the funny stuff in here, it was actually Chris Pine's character and how he was oblivious to some of the stuff going on around him. Drama in the film, I'm gonna give it 3 stars here. I was really hoping to give it more here, but the story really isn't as compelling as I would have liked from the first movie. A lot of it does feel contrived and forced, and like we're just trying to go ahead and get to a certain point so we can get to this comic book origin, to get to this comic book Easter egg, and the MacGuffin in the film really goes overboard. Horror in the movie, I'm gonna give it no stars. There's really nothing here that will frighten you. And suspense in the movie, I'm gonna go ahead and give it 3 stars here, because like I was mentioning, they find a way to make Diana weak in this movie where she could actually get hurt, isn't as powerful as she used to be, and I thought they did a good job with that, and it raised the stakes. Casual fans, I'm gonna give it an A-. Cinephiles, I'm gonna give it a B+, and critically, I'm going to give it a B-. For Wonder Woman 1984, I still think this is one you should add to your collection at home.
That's a keeper.
Like I said, it's a flawed Wonder Woman movie. It's not as perfect as the first. I still think a lot of the flaws could be forgiven with some of the performances, the action sequences, and just the progression of the character. I'm just really curious now to what happens to Wonder Woman from here on out, whether they set the next movie in the future or present time. If they really try to go ahead and bring back Chris Pine's character for a 3rd film, please don't. I still very much enjoyed my watch, and I highly suggest you guys go out and watch it on HBO Max on Christmas or on theaters if your theater is open and you're feeling safe. Be sure to leave me your opinions down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at 3C Film Review. As always, I'm Chris. Take care.